This is the daily human design energy report for Wednesday, January 18th. The sun is in gate 60, and we are in the second hexagram, the second line, that hermit line. Really looking at how we take this energy and internalize it, utilize it as our gift. And the key word here is decisiveness. The understanding of nature of limitation, to accept its restraints when necessary, and thus be able to take advantage of opportunities when they arise. Energy which can adapt to restraint. An adaptation to restraint that becomes habitual and maintains the nature of the limitation even when it no longer exists. The energy for adaptation that can get stuck without eventual mutation. And so really being clear and decisive on when we conserve our energy, when we might bring in a little bit of limitation, when we decide to put those restraints because it is for the overall good, but then when we do have the excess, do we shift? Do we readjust? Do we relieve those restraints, especially if it can serve us? If it can benefit us in that time and we have the supply, why not use it resourcefully, so then maybe possibly we can conserve even something else, right? And so sometimes looking at that and being able to make the decision on what things we should restrain and what things maybe we should allow to flow a little bit more freely. And that really is going to come to listening to that authority and making sure that you're using your strategy. And so let's see what other energy we can kind of call in to help assist in this decisiveness, assist in knowing how to adapt to restraints at times of need. Distribution, right? Learning how to speak, right? Coming from the throat, learning to how to like shift into change. And, I think about the farmer's market, right? Like everything is seasonal there. It's like they learn to adapt. People learn to adapt, to know that not all months of the year are you going to be able to get certain produce. And so you could call it a restraint, right? A limitation. You might not be able to get your tomato, but you'll be able to get something else. And so it's all about the distribution. It's all about how we go about sharing that our product might be fluctuating, right? And so this is the farmer's market. We know it's going to be whatever's in season. That's their term, their way of distribution. And looking at this as a way of conservation and knowing on which way and how we can make our decisions on which ones to conserve. And that is simply by, we know that this is going to be more bountiful, more plentiful in this season. We'll plant this and we will, then shift and change later on. And so we adapt. And so making sure that we're not getting stuck. And there are some who only choose to grow one crop, and then maybe you adjust and adapt to the way you grow. Utilize a greenhouse, utilize a different system, right? And so there is still an adaptation because there's a restraint, just in a different form. And so you're choosing to shift and refrain that. And so since we use the market as our example, let's see where from Mother Earth. Soursop. We get our miracles, knowing and trusting that when we can lean into and out of this adaptation, and when we can trust and know that we can shift and we can change and we can, if we have to restrain for a moment, we don't have to have that fear that it's going to be forever, right? We can know that it's just a stage. It's just a period. And we can remember that we are the miracle. And so soursop also comes into remember that we are just one in itself. Every miracle we've been waiting for just might be under our nose, but sometimes they show up in different forms. Don't get locked into one particular outcome, as Spirit surprises you with how the miracles appear. And so that's that same thing with the distribution. If, you know, if tomatoes is what you want to do, then shift how you're going to grow them if the weather isn't conducive, right? So then we shift and we change in that. We don't get so focused on just one way of growing. And so allow yourself to receive and miracles. Give yourself permission to allow. It's your divine heritage. So really looking at this energy of limitation and kind of shifting it and changing it and knowing that it's more seasonal. It's evolutionary. It is part of a cycle. The only constant that there is change, right? And so knowing that it is always going to shift and change, and when we can stay fluid, when we can stay adaptable, when we know and we trust that we are the miracles here, the conduits, the channelers that are receiving the guided inspiration, we are trusted. We will know what we need to know when we need to know it. And so lean into that as you speak your truth. Don't forget to like these videos. Please give me a thumbs up down below. Please subscribe to my channel. You will know every time I put out a new video. And if there is anything you'd like to reach out to me privately and see what kind of offerings I do, please feel free to email me down below. Much love.